Hello, I watched a really inspiring video last night on a YouTube channel called Toby Urbansketch. It's a pretty grey, drizzly day in St Agnes today, but I walked down into the village and took some photos of some of the buildings for me to go back and paint at home. I'll link below to the video that I watched. It's a great tutorial on painting buildings. Here's the church coming up that I painted in a video I did on granulating watercolours last week. This is the Miners and Mechanics Institute building that I do a monthly craft market in. And this is the Methodist chapel. So I took photos of one of the greengrocer's shops, the gift shop, the old bank, the Miners and Mechanics Institute, the Methodist chapel, and the photo that I'm going to paint today, the butcher's. So Toby from Toby Urbansketch breaks down the drawing into 5 main stages, and he suggests using a finer fine liner, a thicker fine liner, a largish brush size between 8 and 12, a round brush, and then some paint. And for this particular tutorial that he gives, he just uses a red, yellow, blue and a dark. So stage number 1 is to draw the shapes in what you can see. So there's no pencil underdrawing involved, it's going straight in with the smaller of the fine liners, which I'm a bit nervous about, but I'll get started. So I've got the front of my shop, but it's attached to a building this side, and it just flows seamlessly into the building on the next side. So I'm just figuring out if I delineate it in any way, but I won't for now, I'll just leave it like that. I've got a triangle bit of a side wall up here, and then the next building comes up at this height. Okay, so there's a very rough outline of all the elements broken down into shapes. And the next stage is to start filling in the colour. So I'm using the little kit that I showed in my I think in my last video, where I put together my art kit. So Toby says the second step that he does is to add light colour. And he does this using a round brush, size 8 to 12. And in my travel kit, I've got this size 10 Escoda Ultimo paintbrush, so that's what I'll be using. So it's just putting light washes of colour in places, but not colouring in every single bit of the paper. So I'm going to do what he suggests for this one and just stick to the red, yellow, blue and a dark. So the blue that I'm using for this is Daniel Smith's Verditer. And he also says don't worry about staining the lines, it's just impressions of colour. And he also uses the blue in areas of shadow in your picture as well. So my darkest areas are under the windows themselves. guess this open doorway, this doorway. Oh, it's really hard just trying to not kind of stick to the lines and things. Okay, I realised I want some stone detail going on really. So I'm just going to add in a few impressions of stone. And on this building they're not regular sized at all. They're not regular colours either. We've got all sorts going on. I know it's a loose sketch, but one of the most distinctive features about this shop is the striped awning, so I do want to get that detail in. Okay, so the next thing is to go in with like warmer touches with the yellow. So for my yellow, I've just mixed some lemon yellow with quinacridone deep gold, and I'm just going to pick out one or two, probably the bits of stone actually that I've just put in. Okay, then mixing a brown just with a bit of red. I'm using Pyro Scarlet in this case. So with the red and the yellow, it's just adding a bit more texture and variety over our building. And then going in with the colour that you've chosen for the dark. So in my case I've got Payne's Grey. And going back over the biggest shadow areas. So for this, I'm kind of screwing up my eyes and looking at the photo so that really all I'm doing is seeing it in darks and lights. Okay, so I've got a lot of dark up here. Incidentally, in my last video, when I was talking about this brush, I was saying the handle's quite heavy, and so it's probably best, like normally I paint up here because I'm quite tight, and I said that I didn't feel very comfortable and that it would be nice to hold the handle here, and actually that's perfect for this style of painting where it's very loose, and so yeah, it feels very nice to be holding it back here. There's one thing he says at this point is kind of trust the process a bit, and I'm glad he says it because at the moment the painting's looking a bit of a mess. And then he says like step back and see what's missing, and I'm gonna include a bit more of a pop of red. So the shop front has got like kind of dark red paint around the windows, and then it's got the red in the awning, so I'm gonna just put that red in. And this door's red as well in the hallway. This is very not how I normally paint, and it's quite scary at the moment. Okay, so the third step that Toby talks about is adding bold colours. And actually I'd forgotten that he'd already said this in this step, but that's where he talks about squinting and adding in more contrast. So I'd already kind of started doing that. And he says if you do want to use a smaller brush, this is the point to do it, but he carries on with the same one he's been using. But I want to get more familiar with the materials I've got, so I'm going to use my Silver Black Velvet No. 6 brush that is in my travel kit. Okay, so the fourth step is to refine the shapes, and that's where you come in with the thicker fine liner. Oh, that's my thinner one. So for this I've got a 0.8 Derwent line maker, and I'm hoping this will somehow magically pull the picture together better. But the idea is to find your original lines again and kind of pull the picture together a bit. Toby said this is the point where, I mean, you've got a thick black pen, you can really go and exaggerate any shadow that needs to be done. I think mine's pretty dark already. And then the last step is to add some splashes, which I'm also a bit nervous about because I've not done this before. So you're just adding a bit more texture using the colours that you've already used. I'm not sure how thick to make the paint though. Okay. And then I'll do the same again with my yellowy mixture. And Toby says that this kind of gives an impression of the surroundings, that there's something there without having to put too much in it. And then I'll just do a bit of the warm reddy brownie as well. Oh dear. Right, I think I better leave it there. Oh, and as a kind of a step 6, Toby says that you should add your signature and be proud of it. And I'm not sure I'm very proud of it, but it's definitely good practice. And I think his video has definitely taken away some of my fear of having a go at urban sketching. I just put my initials down here. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that video. It's my messy little paint palette now. I'd definitely go in and check out Toby Urbansketch on YouTube. As I said, I'll link down below. But I find he's got a really nice manner and just really, really useful. Hopefully see you next time. Bye!